Hey, hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello. I'm good. How are you too?
I'm fine. Well, my name is Shruti,
Okay.
and I'm here today for this installation part for SQL Server. May I know your name?
Okay. Okay, sure. I'm Ransford.
Oh, Ransford. Good. So,
You're right. And I didn't hear your name. I
my
didn't
name
get
is
it.
Shruti. Is S H R
Shooty.
U T I.
You okay, Shooty.
Yes.
Okay. Nice name.
So, how is the session going on till now?
Not bad. We're making some progress. So
So,
we started with the introduction. So we now sure.
great. So let's start. So these are the topics that we would be we are going to cover today. So this is hardware and software requirement for installing SQL Server 2016, and then installing and
Mhm.
configuring SQL Server, how you are going to install it, and then we'll install the SQL Server Management Studio, that is the tool to manage the SQL Server, and then we'll connect this SQL Server Management Studio to the database engine. So we call this SQL Server Management Studio like SSMS, right? So this SSMS
Okay.
that you can see on this screen at the fourth point, that stands for SQL Server Management Studio, right?
Okay. Sure.
So at any point, if you have any question, please feel free to interrupt. Okay,
I will.
sure. So next here, so let's start with what operating system do support the SQL servers. Then SQL Server start from 2005. So as a normal thumb rule, any SQL Server would support the +1 and the -1 version of Windows Server, right? So
Mm.
like the SQL Server 2005, that is supported by Windows Server 2008, but it is not supported by Windows Server 2012 or 16.
Mm.
Okay, and the same way it's SQL Server 2008 that is supported by Windows Server 2008 and 12, but not by 16. Okay, so as you can see on the
Mm.
screen, same way this 2000, when we reach up to 2016, that is what we are going to work on today. SQL Server 2016,
Okay.
that would not be supported by Windows Server 2008. So that means if your server has the operating system of Windows Server 2008 or 2008 R2, you cannot install SQL Server 2016 on that. See,
Because
we
I
right
see
now
Windows
we
Server
have this
2016,
one,
but yes.
okay, and this would
Mm-hmm.
work with this one and
Okay.
this one. It won't work with
Mm-hmm.
2008. So if you have 2014,
Mm-hmm.
then it would work with all the three. Yes. But
Mm-hmm.
right now what is the latest version is 2016, and this work with
Okay.
2012 and 2016 only. So, and these are the hardware and the software requirement to install SQL Server. So first is the operating system, right? Before installing, we have to check what operating system we have, and then we have to check what is the RAM. First RAM, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
RAM should be it would work on 1 GB RAM also, but to make it properly work, I would recommend you 4 GB. Okay, the minimum is 4
Mm-hmm.
GB RAM should be available on the machine. Fine. And
Okay.
then there should be a minimum disk space should be 6 GB. Okay. The processor should be 64-bit. And then there should be Java and Network Framework 4.6. These three are the hardware that you should be taking care before you plan to install SQL Server. And once we install, while installing, it would be asking you where it should save the data files and where it should save the log files. So data file, SQL is basically a database server, right? So data file I would always recommend to save on an external like memory or external source, where in case of disaster recovery your data should be safe. Even the machine goes down or crashes, still your data would be safe, right? And the log file is something where you can in case of any analysis or something you have to do, you can go through the log files and read out what all happened on this server. Have you heard about like the black box on the plane? Whenever a plane crashes, people start looking for the black box, right? So this log file is the black box
Exactly.
on the server.
Yeah.
Yes. So whenever for any action or anything that happened on the server, we have to see where the problem is. Then we start looking for the log file. Okay, so these two files are important, data file and the log file, and that we normally recommend to save on an external source. So next, so once you are installing, so there are two ways for the authentication of the server, like the SQL server. Either you can go with the default SA authentication, that is a default user that is created by SQL server, or you can go with your normal Windows credentials. So you whatever ID you have to log in onto the Windows, the same ID you can use to log in onto the SQL server. Okay?
Okay.
So I guess we are done and we can start installing. Let me share the screen for my server. Okay, so I hope now you can see my server. We're connecting. So this is the ID that I have created for this server, and this is the software that I have downloaded from Microsoft. This is the evaluation version of SQL Server 2016. Okay.
Okay.
So, and you can also create a server for yourself and keep this downloaded. So in your next session you can try installing yourself. Today I'll be doing this, but next session you can try installing yourself, so it would be like more hands-on experience on that. So here we go. SQL Server 2016. Now here we go. So also all these requirements and everything you can check on this window, like what is the hardware and software requirement that you need. If you click on this, it would take you to the document where it would show what all you need there.
Now this is important, system configuration checker. This would actually go ahead and check your system if your system is ready for this installation. If it meets the requirement. So you see it checked and if they passed 10, failed 0. So if there was something that was not compatible or required, so then it would show up there. Then here is the download upgrade advisor, right? So this is something like you can download and install on your system. So actually it is kind of you are this is for the scenario when you are migrating from any other server to this server. So let's say you have an old SQL machine and you are migrating from that SQL to this new machine, or you have an on-prem machine and you are migrating to cloud machine, or your server is into a new environment and you are upgrading or migrating to this. So here is this. You can go install it and then I run and it lands me on this window. So here you can select assessment or migration, and these are the options that are available. You can select the source and target server type. So my source is SQL Server and the target could be Azure SQL database. Then I can select what which is my migration scope. I want to migrate only data or only schema, or I want to go. So schema, I hope you know, is the characteristic or like data type kind of key, like what data you want to transfer or what characteristic there should be for your data. And then, so all right, then we are done with this. Similarly, we have another options there that you can run. I will go to installation now. So as this is a new server, so I would go for the new server standalone installation. Or if you have an existing server and you want to add some feature, you can go for this option too. So this, you can add a feature or install a new server. So here is it. It's initialized and now it's checking that we had already checked. So I'm performing a new installation. Next. So mine is an evaluation version. So you can choose yours as and when, depending on the scenario. If you have a key, you can put it in here. I don't have. Okay, these are the term and conditions. And even if it is an evaluation version, it would be working for me for 180 days. So you can download it from the Microsoft website. Now this is important. What all feature you want to be installed? So right now the basic is database engine, and then it is client connection, because SQL Server works on a server client environment, right? So if you want this is the main server. This is the one you want to install only the server. You can go for default instance, or if you want to have multiple instances for each application and you want to install a separate instance, you can install it through here. So I have put a name here for my instance. Now it's installing, initializing. Here we go. So these are the username and the password that are default created by the SQL. So as you go to the service, you would see there that every service is administrated by a separate user. So these are the users. And now we are on the authentication mode. You can select what kind of authentication you would want while logging into the server. So you can go for the Windows authentication that you are already using, or you can go for the mixed mode. Here is somewhere you can check. You can change your data location. I have changed it to D, right? So we are good. Let's go. Accept. Here we go. So this is the summary page showing me what all are to be installed, where it is going to be installed, and then we are setting features. Okay, we got to wait for some time. Almost there. So this is the whole wizard that would take you through the installation and help you setting up your user and the location, everything. So my all features are successfully installed, as you can see on the screen. This shows me the product update also. Now we are done with the installation. Alright. So now we need to configure this. So we have to go back to installation and now install SQL Server Management Tool. We can also call it SSMT. This would, to administrate the SQL Server, you need the Management Studio tool. So I'll download SSMS. install it. Okay, almost there. Installing. You can select the location here where you want to install. Okay, so it is set up. It's successfully installed. Let's go to the studio now. Okay, SQL Studio. Let's search. Yes, there we go. So SQL Server Management Studio. I'll take you through. Let's log in. So I have selected Windows Authentication and I'm using my Techpledge server authentication. You can also select SQL Authentication. Connect. Okay, here is my database. Right, system database and database snapshot. These are the database that I have that are like by default. And then I go for new query. You can put your codes here.
Thank you so much for connecting today. So this session for installation of SQL Server is done, and next session we would be doing about the Management Studio configuration and the data connection. And if you have any question, you can always connect me through email. Have a great day. Bye bye.